Heidi ho, gamers, game hymns, and game thems. How you doing? This week on our plate, with Spider-Man 2 only days away and reviews dropping in less than 24 hours, we give our Metacritic slash Opencritic predictions. Against all odds and with a lot of money, Microsoft finally secured the Activision with, I'm sorry, will this make them the king in the industry? Or will they still be stuck in the blizzard of first place? Third place, not first place. I know Jordan would love that, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I don't work for those fuckers. Games, man.
You act like it.
I'm here for a good deal. I'm here for a good deal.
Nah, you're right. You're right. And then on the other side of the fence, the long rumored PlayStation 5 Slim has finally been announced, and it will come with even more accessories. Are you ready? Are you ready? And then looking into our Press X crystal ball, is there a future where Disney could appear at Summer Games Fest? Maybe. All this and more on Season 7, Episode 40 of Press X Start Gamers Digest. What's up, everyone? I'm your host, DJ, a.k.a. Sexy Bad Choices, a.k.a. my hero hours are 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. After that, you better watch out. I'm coming for you. Batman style. I am joined by...
I am Sean MF Ross.
What does the MF stand for?
That video is wrinkly.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
AKA Daddy Warbucks.
Oh. Wait a minute. This man loaded?
Nah, not really, but I just found out like my HSA card got like $1,500 on it, so you know.
Oh.
I'm over here shopping for luxury glasses I would have never even looked at a day in my life, but I'm like, you know, got a job with benefits now. Let me use this money before they try to take it back or something, you know.
Sean roll up to his doctor's office. I want all the drugs.
I'm looking at Gucci and Versace glasses. That would have never in a day.
That's how you do it, man. It's that turn.
They're gonna see me on the next video. I don't even wear glasses on the video. The next one, you just see me, just turn my head.
You know?
Going on, shit.
Is that Prada?
Hey, man, you know.
All right. And then that other voice we have on this cast.
Who's Jordan, aka Xbot, super in great mood. Mm-hmm. Outside of everything, just feeling.
This man's
great
glowing right now.
Aka the first Starborn.
Oh, the first Starborn. Okay,
the first Starborn.
I guess we'll get into that. All right. Now you know who we are. Press X Start Gamers Digest is a video podcast that gets us the most important gaming news from this past week into an hour-long meal just for you. We are live on YouTube every Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We nailed it. For those who are, doesn't matter. Don't forget, you can support us by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and hit the notification bell. If you are listening, we greatly appreciate you leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts or the podcast service you are currently tuned in on. And if you want, you can join our conversations by joining our Discord at pressx2start.com/Discord. With that out the way, let us jump into the gaming news. Let's do it. All right, number one, as I said at the start of this thing, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is just less than 24 hours before their review embargo drops. And this is supposed to be another one of them heavy hitters, another one of them potential Game of the Year candidates. I'm going to go under the assumption that we are all going to be picking this game up. It drops October 20th, so next Friday or something, Thursday. Yep. I think. Yeah. Yes, Sean?
I hope it gets like a 60-something.
No. Wait. We're not there yet. The question was, you're getting the game, right?
No.
Oh, all right.
That's a lie. That's a bold-faced lie.
That's going to be an awkward conversation between me and you.
Get out of here. What else is these past 6 months? I want a PS5 too. Come on. You know why we're here.
Waiting for Halo Infinite to arrive on my PlayStation.
On your PlayStation. Give it about another 10 years when Microsoft looks at Sony to purchase them.
Son of a
Or
bitch.
Apple.
Mm,
Or Apple.
mm.
I'm just
So
saying.
yeah, yes, we're all gonna get Spider-Man 2.
Mhm.
So as Sean,
DJ's gonna pre-order it on October 19th, 11:59. Like a bastard.
I thought this was a safe space for us to talk about video games. I don't know why I'm being
Ain't no
attacked so
safe
early.
spaces around me.
I mean, that might happen. I might be pre-ordering this game on October 19th at like 11:50. We'll see. It is Spider-Man 2, and I must respect that game. So I might pre-order it like on the 18th. We'll see. But yes,
I
Sean.
hope there's an internet outage around your area.
Why
And
would you be so mean? Why?
you gotta use your hotspot data to download the game or something. I don't know.
Hey, I'll take that L. I'm okay with it. All right. Yes. Okay. Sean,
Hmm?
what is your thoughts? What is your predictions for Spider-Man 2? We'll do the Opencritic, the Metacritic, and then IGN's special review score because they've been on a tear recently.
IGN, okay. Opencritic, Metacritic. I'm hoping that it gets like a 60 something, just because it's not on my fantasy critic list.
All right. No,
I'm gonna be a hater.
Outside of that, for real, what do you think it's going to get? Not this fucking bullshit. And no one counterpicked it. Number one, no one was.
I just don't want nobody else to get points.
Right?
Hate. Nah, it's gonna get high 80s on Metacritic. I don't remember what the last one got, but
the last one got an 87. The last one got an 88.
I don't see it. I mean, I'm seeing early reviews saying this is better than Arkham City, which, to be honest, I would hope so. It's that game is over a decade old at this point, and if they've improved on the last two, and I haven't seen Insomniac miss ever since I've been on the bottle, you know. This is gonna be a high 80s. I'd say like 89. It's gonna be kissing 90. I doubt it's gonna be lower than the last one unless it's just something drags on too long or there's like some weird glitch that they just didn't catch, you know. Now IGN, or are we doing both scores per person?
Sure.
Yeah. Just give yourself.
IGN is gonna go one of two ways. It's gonna be a 10 and they're gonna fall in line with everybody else, a 9, 10. Or they're gonna try to generate some clicks and get that bad boy a 6 or a 7. You know.
Oh man. All right, Jordan.
Yeah, I'm giving it a range between an 88 and a 91.
Okay.
Like it, you know, like it's rare for a game to go up in Metacritic or OpenCritic score. Like usually, as you add more values to it, as you add more reviews to it, the average can draw in a certain direction. Unless it's like, I don't know how the algorithms are, but how, like their equations are in those systems. But like it takes a lot of 9s in a row to bring something up a point, but only one, 8 or even 7 to bring it down too, or like one point, which is like how sensitive it is to negative scores. But in terms of OpenCrit, I give it a range between 88 and 91, probably starting in the 90s and then going down to the high 80s, like 89, like as Sean said. Like Miles Morales got an 85 OpenCritic score, with a 9 out of 10 from IGN, while the original Spider-Man got an 8.3 out of 10 from IGN, but had a higher OpenCritic score of 88. So that's the range here. And it will be a Game of the Year contender. Will be the strongest Game of the Year contender. We know that, Baldur's Gate is still in the room and fucking Zelda's still in the room. But similar to 2018, even though 2018 had less bangers than 2023, it will be on the list. We will see it in the orchestrated background for Jeff Keighley's, Video Game Awards. And yeah, it's going to get a nomination at the very least. Winning? Probably not. I don't, based on the gameplay we've seen so far, and this is what I said in the beginning, like seeing what's going to like I'm not trying to see a total evolution in gameplay, but I am seeing a times twoing of a great thing. Like I like me some dried squid. So you give me two packets of dried squid, I'm just as happy, but it's still dried squid, if that makes sense. Like this is still a better condition, but I'm still getting some of the same that I already gotten, perfectly executed, great gameplay, and it's gonna be a great game.
Yeah.
It's literally two Spider-Man.
My prediction is I think that this game is going to get a solid 90 on Opencritic, because I think, from us watching or paying attention to Opencritic versus Metacritic, usually the Opencritic scores are like a point or two higher. So I think on Opencritic it's going to be 90, and then on Metacritic might be like 88. And then generally speaking, as Jordan was saying, like that initial score tends to drop a point or two, like, once all the reviews come in. But there are some cases where it has gone up a point too. So it's possible that, at the end of the day, this Spider-Man 2 could like stay at that 90 with that point down, point up kind of thing. But I think with the things that we've seen of this, the idea that, this is essentially the third in a trilogy. And at this point, Insomniac has pretty much nailed down the formula. They know what they want to do. They have the ability to essentially go big with the whole Venom, and the idea that, it's possible one of these characters could die. So like there's a lot that they could play with to really change up that formula. But at the end of the day, like, unfortunately, you always have to, especially a game like this, like where it is open world, you have to compete with that story versus the open world. So, I think the original Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man, I think that got dinged with the open world aspects in that game. So it's just like
one through the same type of engagements.
Exactly. So I feel like, they have potential to really refine that stuff and make it feel better, even though they did show like, oh, well, the map is 2 times bigger. And for me, I'm just like,
the first one was kind of big already.
Yeah, exactly.
It was impressive. It was an impressive map. And we saw like they are kind of times twoing your method of transportation, literally having wings and launching yourself way further than you would have in 2018. But I will say this, please, Insomniac, no stealth sequences.
Oh god, yeah.
I think Marcus kind of liked them. I was pushed back upon when we were reviewing this in 2018, saying how much that took us out of why the fuck we were there. As much as I respect Mary Jane as a character, as much as I respect powerless Miles Morales as a character, motherfuckers could have told me
with that yee ass haircut.
Yeah, like we're talking 2018, like a PS4 before the Redux.
Man, they had
like
no shape up.
those sequences, I'm like, Mary Jane, you could have told me this in a text. You could have told me that you snuck around that museum and I'm here to knock out those people. I don't need to experience it. That was annoying. That was so fucking. And you didn't see that shit in the DLCs. And
that's
DLCs,
true. That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
I do not remember any of those. I think they took those out. Even Miles Morales, there were no stealth sequences. Thank God.
Yeah, I definitely think that was their attempt at like, oh, we're gonna introduce this surprise change in gameplay, and it just didn't work out to their liking, or to anyone's liking, really.
I just asked you to change the oil in my car, not fucking put a spoiler on it. The hell is this?
Why do I have a decal on the side of my damn car?
It was fine coming in. Jeez.
So yeah, I mean that's pretty much where we are. Again, these reviews are dropping less than 24 hours. It's kind of an exciting time for the Spider-Man fans, and for anyone who generally just wants a good story-based game where you get to play as the Spider duo, maybe trio.
Spider-Man.
Maybe we'll see.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, so I'm totally interested in see what's gonna happen with this game. So yeah, that's that. Number 2. Oh wait, let me switch back to us. Okay. Sony's new PS5 with a removable disk drive launches in November from The Verge by way of, who is this from? Tom Warren. All right. So, actually, I do have video of this as well. So, all right. There was rumors that we talked about with the PS5. Oh, well, that crashed. Huh. That's unfortunate. All right. So yeah, there was rumors that we talked about with this PS5 Slim thing happening. I think there was screenshots. We didn't show the screenshots because we weren't sure if it was accurate, and we also didn't want Sony to attack our little YouTube channel,
Our little
like
cheeks.
yeah, like Rockstar did with their GTA 6 stuff. Anyways, now we have actual confirmation from PlayStation. The new models will cost $499.99 for the disk drive version.
Included.
And yes, included. And then for a digital version, it's going to be $450 essentially. And these are going to replace the current models on the shelves. So if you don't have a PS5, get your PS5 now before they get replaced with these, I guess. I mean, anyways, yeah. Beyond that, these are going to have 1 terabyte internal storage, which in actuality is about
825 gigs.
No, but I think the current models have 825 gigs.
Oh, they're expanding because it's 1 terabyte advertised on it, but there's like formatting stuff and
exactly.
I mean, that's the case for most hard drives. Period.
Yeah.
There's unusable space, but
yeah. So we're actually going to be able to use that. I guess
full terabyte
gigabyte. Yeah, the full terabyte essentially. Which
they put a bigger hard drive in there. It's probably like 1 point whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So beyond that, if you purchase the base PS5 digital edition, you can add the Blu-ray disc drive at a later date, as Sony is selling it separately for $80. On top of that, every picture you see of the PlayStation 5, it is always standing vertically. To get this vertical stand, it will cost you another $30. Period.
You should have added that. But wait, there's more.
You're right. And then just a little detail to the actual Slim new model now. There are 4 separate cover panels, with the top portion in a glossy look while the bottom remains in matte. So that's the details for this thing of a console. I don't know where I'm at in terms of if I like the look of this better than the original PS5. I think you guys remember I went on record by saying PS5 just looks atrocious.
Yeah, and you're wrong a lot of times too. So I mean,
the PS5 BBL.
When have I been wrong?
Every day of your life.
I mean, like, saying, Jordan? With price increases, okay, I see. So we're getting some more space and storage. But basically, in the past with the PS Pro and Xbox Series X, there was an improvement in power, and I'm not reading that here.
No,
I mean they never announced it.
I know, but they're not giving it to us. I mean, like, okay, so like if this was at
this is a Slim and not a Pro,
right? I know.
This is just a refinement of the PS5.
Right, but like there's still like the digital PS5, which is what, $339, right? $400.
$399, yeah.
$399, and I'm just trying to like understand why.
Why it's $450 here?
Yeah,
because it's modular.
Okay.
I was gonna say because Sony wants and needs money.
Okay, well, that would make sense too. But I'm just saying, it's like I would have just held off this type of version, or this new refangled model for the PS Pro, or like make it more exciting. Because this, I mean, we know the PS4 is about to go out. A lot of people that announced this called it. We know the PS4, the PS5 Pro is coming out next year. I would not, in good conscience, like, oh, should I buy this? Jordan Time? I'm like, well, no. You shouldn't. I think you
I
can
mean,
do
this is for the
fine
people
with.
who don't want the PS5 Pro. There are a bunch of people who still bought a base PS4 Slim after the PS4 Pro came out, or the Xbox. Fucking Christ, Xbox One X. I had to think about it.
I mean, like, so the PS5 Pro is gonna be $600. They're gonna do
It is
$600.
possible.
Yeah, I
Okay.
definitely think that the PS5 Pro
The
will
2006.
probably be 600 because I think, well, actually, it could be a thing where it is 550 to 600, where 600
Okay.
is with the disc, 550 is without the digital version. I
Mm.
think, I think, do we need this? No.
Do we need what? The Slim?
This version of the Slim. No, I think the reason why this exists is specifically they are testing the waters of
Their
this
removable
console.
drive.
I think
I mean,
that is the
it's
key
more
feature of
accessories.
this.
That's what PlayStation does. Like we
That
had
too.
this
That
giant
too.
video of all 5 new accessories we're getting this fall.
That's also a problem. That's also, I said a problem at first. I'm gonna say it's a problem. But like, I think if you look at it, and also, okay, if you run the numbers,
Yeah.
450 for a digital console.
Mhm.
Say 2 months down the line, you actually want to have some
Add the
digital or
disc.
some physical games. You add the
Yeah.
disc drive. That's $80. So you're end up spending $530 on a console that you could have spent just $500 on.
But
So
also, you need a vertical stand, DJ. You gotta have a vertical stand.
You don't
to
need the
spread it
vertical
out.
stand
I know
with
you
it.
don't need a vertical stand, but I remember with the PS5, we had a stand come with it, and now
that's
they're
true.
telling
That's
it
true.
it came in.
And it is like, it's one of those things where like they are separating these pieces out to essentially charge the consumer more in the future. But it's this whole modular design that it's, some people ask for. They want something like this to happen. That way they can choose what they want and basically don't have to pay for the stuff that they don't want, which is a good idea.
When I upgrade to the PS5 Pro, that'll be a total update to my whole.
Why would you do that when you play your games mainly on the Xbox?
Because like there's only 2 or 3 PS5 games like Spider-Man or God of War that I actually like, and I want to I have to buy that.
Why
console.
would you get a Pro?
Yeah,
if there are only 2 or 3.
Yeah, well, you know what? Like,
listeners, he's just telling us he got it like that. That's
well, I mean, like I'm just saying, you upgrade your Office when you need to. So by the time the PS5 Pro comes out, that would have been 4 years removed since most usually flat screen televisions last about 2 or 3 years before you update it. Yes, because 8K is about to come out. 8K is about to be a thing. Like, why would I buy a PS5 Pro and
Jordan,
not have an 8K?
where do we submit our grant applications?
I'm just saying. When it would be silly if I find out that y'all. I mean, and it was advertised on the original PS5 that was going to be 8K, which was false advertising. Number one, this next one's going to play games in 8K. People that buy the PS5 Pro without an 8K television are in fact wasting money. That doesn't make sense.
There are people who bought the PS5 and PS4
with 1080p television. So they're not like what I'm saying is the only reason why I would buy a PS5 Pro is if I was going to upgrade my whole setup. Without if the PS5 Pro was 8K 8K formatted, but 8K television is like $5,000, that doesn't make sense for consumers. I would still wait. So I wonder if Sony does in fact sell their PS5 Pro at the price of $600 while the technology of 8K is still out of reach. How many people would truly engage in that? Because I don't even see Xbox going into the 8K conversation. PlayStation's going into that very hard.
Yeah,
I mean, I think there's like only one game that did. This little bullshit game.
I honestly think the whole run to 8K thing was a mistake on Sony's end, and I don't think they're going to market the PS5 Pro as like an 8K thing. I think they're going to go like, this has 2 terabytes of space.
Well, okay, but $100 extra markup on more terabyte space, but you you can
But that's not
get
it though. That's not
you
it.
can
They
get
could
the
say
removable
that they
card.
could say that they run the games faster. It
I
does
didn't even
this
think of
better,
that.
that better. So like I think, and it's another thing. Like, yeah, you could buy an external like hard drive, but if you can just buy the console,
Well, like
you buy the console.
I'm just truly interested. I mean, like seeing this console that just come out as a stopgap between some type of experimentation, which a lot of these
Mhm.
hardware companies do. What more is the PS5 Pro going to deliver for that potential $600 markup? And I'll just explain the whole universe of shit associated with these consoles, be it the sound system, be it the picture output, all that people would take into consider. Because if I hear someone buying $600 console and not really utilize, like not getting the most out of that $600 purchase, that's baffling to me. I'm like, you might as well just
That's
keep with the
true.
PS5.
Speaking of audio, we also have to remember that Sony bought that audio company. I don't remember their name.
Audis.
There you go. Yeah. So
The
there could
luxury
be, yeah, there could be like better
headset people.
integration with that. Like they have potential of marketing the PS5 Pro, like, whatever direction they
Yeah,
want to do
high
it.
end users
And I,
against.
yeah, exactly. And I think like, at the end of the day, that's who this is going to be for. It's going to be for the people who have played their PS5s religiously and they want more power from it or more storage without buying an external drive. Like myself, actually, because I haven't had an external drive and I need
I
one right
hate you.
now because these games are crazy, specifically Call of Duty.
Expect a note on your door next business day. Listeners, I'm not playing. I often leave notes on DJ's front door.
This is true. This is true. That's why I didn't deny that. All right. Number 3, Microsoft closes. This says 69, but I'm going to say $68.7 billion Activision deal. Activision Blizzard King deal. Overcoming regulators' objections. This comes from the New York Times. I mean, Jordan, how much of this you want to actually read, and we can just actually.
I just read the headers. The mega
Okay.
deal could strengthen Microsoft's standing in the video game industry after a year and a half of negotiations with regulators around the world. This included the CMA, FTC, and European Commission, the EU Commission.
Mm-hmm. So yes, as he said, the CMA is okay with Microsoft selling their cloud streaming rights over to Ubisoft.
Yeah.
And with that, they said this is good to go. So now it is official that Microsoft owns Activision Blizzard King. Sean, how do you feel about this?
Good choice. Good choice.
I know Jordan may feel like I'm an Xbox hater.
No, you're fine.
But I mean, I had an Xbox 360 that I played daily, back in the day. Consolidation of companies, I'm not sure. I'm on the fence about this one. It just feels
Make sure logic. Let's keep the logic going here. There's a lot of feels, but let's keep it in the realm. I get you. I know
it feels like they're just throwing their money around to buy their way into second or first place. They didn't
there you go.
utilize their homegrown talent very well. They rested their laurels on 3 to 4 franchises for the past 3 to 4 generations. And now to play catch up, they gotta spend what is the largest amount of money spent on a video game merger in forever. And I don't know. I don't know. I mean, all I can say is time will tell. I think my initial disdain for Microsoft doesn't come from the Xbox era. It comes from Microsoft overall and their business practices in the past. It has nothing to do with the video game industry once they entered it. It's more so just you remember when they had to be? Did they get split up in the 90s?
No, I don't. I don't remember. I remember they could. I remember they consolidated Dell, right? Didn't they buy Dell or something? Or
I mean, I remember,
from
the
PC
whole
Maker.
thing where they were trying to prevent Netscape, people from changing
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
things like that.
Yeah,
So
they bought Netscape and became the main internet engine for like the 90s and like
so
2000s.
like it's shitty things they used to do in the past like that, which makes me like, so I
Microsoft as a
mean,
company.
yeah, yeah. So I
Yeah.
mean, we'll see where this goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
You gonna ask me
actually,
how
you know
I
what?
feel?
Jordan, you take this. You take the floor. You take the floor.
All right.
This is a big deal for you.
Oh, thank you.
Hmm.
I'm not too far off Sean's sentiment, to be honest. At least you like looking at it from that perspective of Microsoft is a $1 trillion company, potentially by the end of our lifetimes being a multi-trillion-dollar company, and you have to be wary when it comes to stuff like that. When it comes to these types of consolidated deals, but looking at the full ontology of that, of where this deal started, its intent, and like purely looking at it from the video game space, Microsoft was working out of third place. And time again, we've seen how diversified the video game space is and how difficult it is to succeed in said video game space. And there is a clear methodology that Microsoft is using. Every deal that PlayStation had made with a third party, Microsoft in a way has bought. And they're 2 for 2 now. First, it was Bethesda, to which Tokyo, what was that game? Tokyo Ghostwire and Deathloop were both PlayStation exclusive games. And it was reports that Starfield was going to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive game. Microsoft bought Bethesda. Move over to Activision. Even right now, there is an open beta available to PlayStation customers versus Xbox customers. And
I believe
quote
that the
unquote
beta, last week's beta was exclusive for PlayStation. I think this week's is for everyone.
right. So like there is a quote unquote, at least like from their eyes, a degradation of their product based on the market and how certain actions of market participants led to the maneuver of users into one platform versus other. There's an ebb and flow here. Even Sean played Xbox 360. That was a time when Xbox 360 was like the shooter console. The games, quote unquote, played better on said console. And looking at this type of consolidation, it makes
Wait,
you
real
wonder.
quick, just to jump in real quick, and like that's actually why PlayStation focused on Activision for their deals, was because Activision was so partnered up with Xbox. So
Right.
essentially, Xbox is now doing the thing that PlayStation was doing back, in that generation.
So we're in like this weird ebb and flow space, but this is more like rigid of an ebb away from PlayStation, at least in terms of the shooter space. And looking back at what Jim Ryan was saying to the regulators, saying that Xbox was trying to make PlayStation Nintendo, I look at it and I go, well, at first we laughed, but then I said, all right, so I can get Battlefield 2142 on Game Pass via EA Play. I can potentially now get Call of Duty there. Halo Infinite is already available there. What's that? Riot Games and all their crazy twitchy bullshit is available through Game Pass. Valorant.
Yeah.
So like there's like this, okay, well maybe Xbox is as not intentionally, but due to this type of like there's a lot of aspects on why this is happening. One is it to feed the beast being Game Pass, and the other is to say, hey, to Sean's point, Xbox has been on those three applications, Forza, Gears, and Halo, for God knows when, and we know how hard it is to break in with like a really good new IP. Even going back in PlayStation stable of games, Ghost of Tsushima, Horizon Forbidden West, Uncharted, Last of Us, Spider-Man. Like Microsoft's like, we can't wait for Project Gotham to come out. Not Project Gotham.
10 years,
the initiatives, Project Dark to come out.
Yeah.
We can't wait for Fable to come out. Phil Spencer's like, it's not like Phil Spencer asked for a blank check. He had to prove that purchase was going to go to something. And I still think Xbox needs to do a better job at bringing quality first-party games. Starfield, as great as it is, great as I love it, it's not the same caliber as Spider-Man. It's not the same caliber as God of War. They still need to work their way up to it. But this deal, no lie, has tremendous ramifications. And, this is kind of one of the fucked up goals of Phil Spencer. As nice as he is, he's like, my best-selling game is on your console. Like, yeah, like the best-selling title on PlayStation, like that. I think that's what Satya Nadella heard. Like, you're telling me, like, it's kind of like if Microsoft had a product on an iPhone that was fucking hot.
Yeah.
Because Microsoft's a software company, y'all. Like, that's where their mindset's at.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. Like, I think it's an interesting place where we are right now because, corporate consolidation is generally never a good thing. But I think in a vacuum, I would think I would be less happy for this deal to go through. But specifically for Activision, specifically for all the terrible workplace like toxicity, like the sexual harassment and stuff that has been going in that studio and probably still is. We just don't really hear about it, or it's not news anymore. I think getting new leadership is the best way to potentially be a solution to all that stuff. And I think, if Phil Spencer really cares about his bajillion employees at this point, he will
it's well
do at
over
least
40,000. It's like
he will take some kind of strides to like fix that stuff, because as we know, Bobby Kotick is going to be CEO for Activision up until January. I think he leaves in January, and this period now is just to, I guess, help
legal
Microsoft.
Stuff.
Yeah, all that. Yeah. So
I mean, like,
and transition how though.
Well, like, like it's in the like to that point. To add on to that point, DJ, the positives of this deal is not necessarily hyperbole. Now there is performative. Like, there is performative, unless, like, if Microsoft was to regress, and this is in terms of workers' rights, you have one of the main unions in the country associated with video game development signing on to this deal, saying it should, like, because of Microsoft's proactive neutral stance, and allowing workers to unionize. That's a positive. Like, beyond Bobby Kotick being excused. Like, almost immediately. That the day of, immediately they're like, okay, he's gone. And sorry. And he probably knew, but he's like, yeah, he's gone.
Yeah. And then on top of that, I believe some of the other senior executives are also supposed to be leaving as well. So there's potential for a lot of change to, go from top down in the Activision studios. So that could all be a great thing.
Or people who get promoted get drunk with power and the cycle starts again.
That's true. That's true.
That's every place. And
that is a risk. But like,
that's a risk.
Yeah. And then I think on the game side of it, I've been showing the
highlight reel.
The highlight reel of all these games.
Like, I got goosebumps. I was like, holy shit, all that game.
They show Crash Bandicoot. They show Spyro. Like, Bobby Kotick had a whole thing about Guitar Hero possibly coming back, but with the power of AI. I read into that. He doesn't really know what he's talking about. So
it's his last week on the job. He's saying whatever the fuck comes to his mind.
He's literally just putting words together. It's like, okay, dude. But yeah, like, them showing Spyro, them showing Crash Bandicoot, I think is really, and then Escape
Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk, yeah, okay. Yeah, like, I think that is really, really good to see. And like, if they keep that same energy, then I'll feel even better about this purchase. But it is that thing of like, and also World of Warcraft as well. I feel like, if we see this and then 2 years time, Summer Game Fest, there's not even a discussion, not even like a tease to like Crash.
You said it's 2 years time.
2 years, yeah. because next year, I mean, they're gonna need to have time to build stuff to actually be before they can show stuff. So,
and to Sean's point earlier, you don't want Microsoft to turn this into a rare situation where we don't see Crash Bandicoot. Sorry, not Crash Bandicoot, Banjo-Kazooie ever. You know, like actually utilize those properties. You know, and you know, it's an exciting, it's an interesting time. You know, and in terms of like the immediate ramifications of this deal, we probably won't experience it. I mean, I think you see some Game Pass shit. But
yeah, for sure.
Like it was a cool 6 to like 8 months after Bethesda, to which you're like, oh, okay, now we see Deathloop, and you know, now we hear Starfield is exclusive to Xbox, and you know, we know that Infinity Ward was coming out with their open world, World of Warcraft type game. Infinity Ward wants to do one, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, they want to do something with Wizards open world, so instead of something with Captain Price.
Yeah, Captain Price is now a wizard.
Yeah,
with that mustache though. Kind of works.
One last point. I just hope that they inject the same battle pass methods they've had with Halo Infinite into Call of Duty. Halo Infinite's battle pass, in terms of you having access to all previous seasons, no matter when or where, that is cool. Just have all of them do that.
I would love for them to do that. I just don't have any faith. I think the other thing that we don't really talk about with this deal is the whole King side of it, and I think that is the bread and butter moneymaker for this deal in terms of getting all that $69 billion back essentially. And I think if that works really well for Microsoft and they're able to really capitalize on that, then we can possibly see a change in the monetization scheme of Call of Duty. But like Call of Duty also makes so much money, so it's like for them to have that kind of season a la carte kind of thing, I think that could potentially lose them money in terms of when you jump on to Call of Duty, you see that season, you're like, oh, I gotta play these games to get these coins to complete the season, and then by the time the season's almost done, it's like, oh, I haven't completed the season, so I gotta spend some money to get these coins to finish out all the stuff that I haven't unlocked. And I think that if they cancel out on that, there could be an issue in terms of like how much revenue they're generating. So I don't know. We'll see. So
this is it. That's the last of ABK deal forever, right?
This is it. Yeah.
It's just Xbox news for now.
Yeah.
If it's Call of Duty news, Xbox news.
All right. Before we get into which could be another potential big deal in the future if this actually kind of happens, I don't know. We'll see. Hey, you listener, you enjoying this episode? Good. Do us a solid. Please like this video if you're watching. If you're listening, please leave us a review. If you're watching, as I said, like the video. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. We greatly appreciate you doing that. Thank you. I'm watching you. Thanks. All right. Now, back to the show. Number 4. Disney's boss is reportedly being urged to consider acquiring a big game publisher like EA. This comes from VGC by way of Tom Ivan. So according to a new Bloomberg feature examining the current state of Disney, which claims senior executives want Iger to explore the possibility of transforming the company from a gaming licensee to a gaming giant with major first-party capabilities. However, Disney's boss said to have been non-committal about the prospects of acquiring a game publisher. Iger, who is now in his second run as CEO of Disney, oversaw the acquisition of Pixar, Marvel Entertainment, Lucasfilms, and 21st Century Fox during his first spell in charge. As well as working on various Star Wars titles, including Respawn's Star Wars Jedi series. EA announced last year that it had struck a deal to make several new games based on Marvel properties, including Iron Man and Black Panther. So, this is another thing that happened. Oh, and just to fast forward a little bit, a news site, Puck, claimed EA had held talks with Disney, Apple, Amazon, and Comcast, NBC Universal over potential sale. So EA is looking to get got.
just
Disney,
showing his leg out, just like,
yeah, right.
hey, how's it going? You like yourself some Madden? You like yourself some
So
FC?
yeah, so this is another, potentially big buyout. Will it be the size of Microsoft and Activision?
No.
No, because Disney really just, as the article says, is a games licensee. They don't really produce games themselves.
Yeah.
So for them to buy a publisher is on a different scale, but still big though. EA. Jordan, you had actually you had some thoughts on this in our
Mhm.
Discord chat. What's your opinion on this?
Well, EA already has a somewhat a relationship with Disney via the Star Wars series, and that partnership soured in the middle, which is why
Yeah,
Disney
exactly.
reached out to fucking Machine Games for the Indiana Jones game. They reached out to Massive and Ubisoft for the Star Wars Outlaws, and the only thing that EA
Crystal
kind of
Dynamics for Marvel Avengers,
yeah, so
Insomniac for Spider-Man.
like specifically looking at the Star Wars
Oh, Star Wars.
partnership, which is like
Right,
the
right.
multifaceted, many
Mhm.
aspects of it, many different types of games over the course of this concentration. And the last one, it wasn't handled well.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if they want to convert EA into like this in-house publisher for Disney to make their games multi-plat, I don't know if EA is the best steward of it based on the performance of their partnership so far. Like they don't have as many
Yeah.
problems as Ubisoft. They're not as meticulous as Machine Games, but at the same time, it's like, this doesn't seem like the smartest of moves.
Yeah.
It seems like they're just panicking because, fucking Marvel is not doing great right now. Even though I love Marvel, I just know that like the quality of work is we're not getting in-game part 2 type vibes here, y'all. Like maybe some Spider-Man No Way Home, but that pop like that shit was fucking zeitgeist back then. Like and they knew it.
Mhm. Yeah. Sean, what's your thoughts on this? No.
I don't like all these damn acquisitions. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah,
Everything needs to stay separate but equal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Calm down.
I'm along the same lines as you two. I think this acquisition makes less sense, especially looking at it from the perspective of Disney buying EA when their Star Wars deal went so bad.
I
And
mean,
I
except
think,
for Jedi Survivor, like this
yeah,
one. That's
yeah,
only one game out of like the 4 or 5 they made, I think.
yeah, and they had that deal for years. So
Mhm.
it feels weird to me, and I think the issue with Disney and their games is that they need better vetting of these studios with one, the idea and the studio they actually look at. Because
Yeah.
Marvel Avengers, when they first showed that game, a lot of people was just like, this is not it. Like, like, just make this single player game. We want to play with Kamala, do that. But then
these
they
these
tacked on the
these
whole like online thing.
these
And it's like,
Kirkland Avengers.
Ex- exactly. And then we have Guardians of the Galaxy, which did well, but under the stewardship of Square, who just needs money to
You're like,
breathe, it just didn't make enough money. And it's just like,
you tell me this isn't Final Fantasy? Huh? What the fuck? No performance.
This ain't making enough money as Final Fantasy 7 is. What is this? Why are you making games? What are we doing?
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
need people. I
it's
need people expiring in cafes for our games. I need people like malnourished.
yeah. So it's like, man, you don't need to buy anyone, Disney. You have enough money. You just need to get better people to manage this stuff. Like that's where the issue is. So, I don't know. But I think the other side is that EA is looking to get bought. Like that's a big like between is Disney, Apple, Amazon, Comcast. I feel like out of that list, Apple actually might be the best choice because Amazon already tried with their Luna and that didn't go too well. Apple already has a history of publishing games. They have somewhat of an understanding with that whole process. And I think with them buying EA, could that could be an interesting combination. So
I would say Amazon because Amazon's push to sports in general and EA's like
that's a good point. Yeah, I didn't even think about the whole sports side, which is a big side of EA. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Number 5. This is a quickie. This actually happened minutes after we stopped recording last episode. Unity CEO is out, but that still may not be enough for developers. So this comes from Ash Parish. Though some developers were calling for John, what's his last name? Riccatello? Riccatello. Yeah, to step down. Now that he has, it might not be enough to improve developer sentiment towards the company. So essentially, the worry here is that even though John has stepped down, they're going to put a new CEO in. Unity still needs that money. So they're still going to have to figure out a way of making more money from their developers, from the people who are using the engine in whatever form. So there still is the worry of them not necessarily doing this type of monetization, but they might do a different monetization that still might rub people the wrong way.
Him leaving wasn't gonna make a difference because I doubt that this was a singular idea and decision created by him. He probably had the final say on whether or not it was gonna go through, but
Yeah,
there was
the
pressure.
people, yeah, the people who came up with these, I'm not gonna call it predatory, but these monetization practices, ideas.
No, predatory is a good term. It is. It is. Especially the quality's not improving.
Yeah. But unfortunately, this is gonna sound anti-capitalist, but I mean that's a side effect of capitalism. Every company is
I think you meant
looking
to
for
say anti-consumer. Anti-consumer.
no capitalism. Every company is looking for year over year of growth, no matter
growth
if
overall.
yeah. I'm gonna. There's a certain company I'm not gonna name, but they sell paint.
Toys R Us. Oh, never mind.
Sure. And I asked somebody who worked there, and they're like, "Well, I mean, what happens after they sell everybody paint? They have to convince you to paint over your old paint that's supposed to be high quality stuff that's supposed to last, for however long time. The growth that companies want nowadays is unsustainable. You can't have 25, 30, 50% year over year growth. What happens when everybody has your product?
Well, that is anti-consumer. Like when you're selling a flawed product out of the goal of having.
I mean, it's not flawed. You're selling a good product,
but it fades. So I have to buy it again.
Well, the idea is that you sell the product, but then you have to
convince
market
people to upgrade
another product to be better than the product that was supposed to be a good product. So it is that vicious cycle.
Or you start introducing things like microtransactions and DLC, and with this company double dipping into the pot, even though you already sold a license.
Yeah. Yeah, Jordan, you got anything?
No. Unity. I feel sorry for the developers, and I totally see this thing harming the boom that we got in this year. I'm lucky this is not an Unreal Engine type issue.
I mean, they may move to that, unfortunately. I'm sure there's going to be a slow decline in the people who use Unity, and they're going to move to proprietary engines or Unreal, and maybe Unreal will try some similar shit in the future because where are you going to go? So I don't know. It just sucks.
Hopefully it doesn't spread and harm video game development, and not let 2023 be like this amazing year for the next 6 years.
Yeah, and just to point back to a previous conversation we had, Unreal is not necessarily in the best place right now with it being under Epic Games and Tim Sweeney spending all bunch of kinds of different money and basically let go a lot of people because he didn't have the money to pay them after spending all that money on crazy stuff like the metaverse and such. So it's just it's L's all around, but I think in this case, Unreal might just be in a bit of a better place than Unity right now. So
Yeah.
So we'll see. Number 6, Shinji Mikami teases return to work after non-compete clause seemingly ends. This also comes from VGC by way of Tom Ivan. So this is just a little like, that's cool. So yes, he basically says that now that I've broken the spell of non-competition on myself, I guess I should get to work. That's pretty much the whole thing to this. Like it's cool. If you don't know, Shinji Mikami made Evil Within for Tango Gameworks under ZeniMax / Bethesda. Tango Gameworks also made Hi-Fi Rush earlier this year. That was the kind of like a change up to their style of games because usually they do horror stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool. It'd be interesting to see what he does. I think this kind of works in a weird way. Like he's starting to think of ideas for games while the platinum guy is also leaving. What's his name? No. I forget his name. But yeah, I think these two working together could be a really interesting combination, but we'll see what happens. Number 7. This is just a little quick one for me. And we kind of talked about it, but it's just confirmation. Tekken 8 release date was delayed to avoid Street Fighter 6. This comes from PlayStation Lifestyles by way of Rebecca Smith. So essentially, there was an interview with Katsuhiro Hadara, who don't know, he's the guy that made Tekken. And he basically said that, like, yeah, we looked at the slate of fighting games and we decided to delay Tekken 8. And it's just like he doesn't necessarily name the game that he was referring to in terms of we're gonna delay it because of this game, but it's Street Fighter 6. It's either Street Fighter 6 or Mortal Kombat, but it's Street Fighter 6.
No, it was Road Hitter 6 and Portal Funbat.
Right.
1. Those are the games that we do not know about that deserve all the respect, of course. Yeah, this was going to be a banner year for. It still is a banner year for fighters, but if that was in, come on.
I mean, they can't come out yearly, so I mean, I get it.
Yeah, exactly. I think as a person with fighting games at the root of their heart, I totally appreciate this being a response that comes out of him. And like, this is because when you look at it, the fighting game community is a small pool of people and they're all playing all these fighting games. So
and they're passionate. It's a very small but fucking passionate.
Exactly, yeah. Because like you really, in order to be good at any of these games, you have to pour a lot of hours into these games. So for them to have to go from Street Fighter to Mortal Kombat to Tekken in 1 year, all it does is just burn out a lot of people who just want to play these games, enjoy these games. And to delay Tekken to next year, when I think the only other fighting game that we know of that's coming out next year is the Riot's Project L, I think. So that's perfect. That's perfect because I think a lot of people are looking at that, but that's a 2D fighter. So that paired with a 3D fighter like Tekken, I think is great. Like we can have another banger year of fighting games come next year. So yeah. So number 8, we just round out this episode with just a little negative. New report making disturbing allegations against the Lord of the Rings Golem developer. This comes from IGN. By way of Wesley Eanpool. So, a fresh report on the Lord of the Rings Golem developer, Daedalic Entertainment. Daedalic? Anyways, has made a number of disturbing allegations about the company, including reporting and enforcing uncompensated overtime, alleging trying to pay staff below minimum wage
Mm.
and a toxic work environment cultivated by an alleged abusive leadership. We don't need this. We don't, especially seeing how the Lord of the Rings Golem is one of the biggest video game flops in 2023. IGN's review, which returned a 4 out of 10, said it was filled with dull stealth, bad platforming, and pointless story, and does little to justify why anyone should take the time to play it. How are you going to overwork your staff for a 4 out of 10? Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
that
unless
is
the staff did that on purpose as a
right. Oh, I can't go home and see my family. Golem
mean,
can't jump. How about that?
I don't even see where they saw Golem and was like, "Yeah, I got the perfect game to like." Who wanted this?
Yeah.
When it was announced, everybody was like,
Yeah, it's just a bad idea that someone high up with money said, yes, we're going to do this. And everyone had to follow because.
Like no matter what the product, the quality of product it is, abuse should not be an aspect of it, which is what happened here. I mean, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And,
Me saying that was just a joke, but like,
yeah.
Absolutely. Like,
but it's like,
go ahead.
It just seems like this is like a very small, inexperienced. Not to excuse them, but like this, it feels like this is the type of place where, these abuses would occur. I mean, like we've seen abuses on the Activision, like super high level, but these smaller studios, you can have weird cultures in them as well. And like it's a tight knit, cliquish shop, to which is even harder to speak up about the abuses going on or you're bullied and shit like that. It's like, well, who are you gonna talk? Who are you gonna turn to? Like it's only like 5 people you work with. There's really no consolidated HR.
There's no HR.
And it's like, it's insult to it's insult to injury. Of what happened to them.
Yeah, and then on top of that, there is the whole thing of like excusing abuse for passion. It's like, oh no, we want this game to be good. Like we want to make sure all the bugs are hammered. So that's why you're here at 3 o'clock
just
on a Friday. Yeah, exactly. And it's just like
you're not doing your part.
Yeah, and none of that is good. None of that feels good from the worker side, and it's just all terrible. So the Daylight Entertainment shut down internal development arm and canceled the follow-up Lord of the Rings game, codename It's Magic. Terrible codename. This resulted in laying off a total of 25 staff. There was a 40-minute video from German publication Game 2 titled Why Golem Had Failed. And in that video, they had spoken to 32 people who worked on the game. So there's a quote where there was an atmosphere of fear. One anonymous source said IGN has contacted both Datalek and Nancon for comment, although it's worth noting denial statements were issued to Game 2 and shown in the video. So yeah, it sucks. But we don't suck. Listener, you don't suck. You're a good person. As far as we know. You could have like a deception check that's like really high, and we just don't know. That's a Baldur's Gate 3 joke right there. Yeah. Anyways, that has been it for the gaming news. We're gonna do a quick what we've been playing, because Jordan has been playing something new, something vroom vroom. Jordan, what have you been playing?
Well, I just finished up quite quickly Starfield. I mean, my ship goes boom boom at times. It explodes in the vacuum of space in a beautiful, terrible explosion. But yeah, I finished up the main story, and I do have, similar to many RPGs, the, do you want to do New Game Plus, point of no return portion of it. The ending, unfortunately, was spoiled to me on Twitter eons ago. It wasn't too far from, and like, there are assholes out there that are in fact spoiling Spider-Man. I saw a portion of it, and I am disappointed that there are people out there that would do that to others out of it. But it's spoiling. People spoil the Harry Potter books. Just people are just losers trying to find value to their meaningless lives. But I finished up Starfield. Final score 8.5 out of 10. Performance issues weren't all over the place. There was no like real game breaking type issues. Gameplay was great. Like exploration was still incredibly fun. And I worry that many of the reviewers that just focused on the main part of the game, like had that be their takeaway, which is what I kind of saw. It's like, all right, I finished the main part, I'm done. But there's there's a lot going on around it, both in terms of side story, exploration, creation, and just overall just having fun. But yeah, so 8.5 out of 10. And is it game of generation? No. It could be some publications game of the years because it did get a couple 5s and 10s out there. But I'm glad I played it. And it's going to be a game, as Todd Howard said, you're going to play over the course of years, similar to Skyrim and other other Bethesda games.
And they'll definitely be supporting that for a long time to come.
Yeah. And there should be DLC next year. I think DLC is slated for 2020 because like they leaked the Xbox leak had Bethesda information in it. There will be DLC for it next year.
Okay.
But I am also playing Forza Motorsport, and I will say this is one of the best looking racers I played in quite some time. But I do think there's a graphical issue when it comes to the daytime. Like it performs well at night and rainy environments. It is cool seeing the climate change over the course of a race, and like it's a simulation racer, but it's still. I mean, you can turn off certain settings. Like I don't know if most cars have a traction control system. In some race environments, that's turned off for more responsive handling, I believe. And you can do that in the game, like sim racers, like most simulators you can. But yeah, no, it's a beautiful game, and there's like this big debate on what an RPG is. Like there's action RPGs because it has level up elements in them. This is a car RPG, is what they called it, because your individual cars will have level ups, but in reality, it's a fairly redundant system in my opinion, because like usually you just buy you win races, get credits or whatever in-game currency, and you buy the parts you want to make your car more faster. This has a separate system to which skills has its own pool of currency that you use to buy parts, and your car can level up for more parts. I like this. All right, I think this is fucking fine. Like it's they want you to have a deeper relationship with the car you have for each type of class and cup. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna do a Subaru and a BMW and an Audi, and I will win every race because those are best base cars because they're all-wheel drive, and that's what matters in these fucking games. All-wheel drive almost always wins.
Yeah.
But I am enjoying it. Only issue is, which I think they plan on patching in, daytime noon does not look great. It's a weird haze that they chose to put on it, which was not necessary.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. All right. Sean, you have a thing?
I've been playing the game that every young boy wants in America, Lee Carvalho's putting challenge.
What?
What?
Okay.
No,
what is this?
I'm joking. That's...
Oh, okay.
I looked it up and I was like, "What is it?"
Nah, it's an old Simpsons reference.
Oh my god, you can run this in engine in a web browser.
That's awesome. All right,
that's the game that Marge fought when he wanted Bone Storm.
It was what's Bone Storm?
Bone Storm was their version of Mortal Kombat back in the 90s. Their parody of Mortal Kombat on the Simpsons. Yeah. And I only brought that up because my daughter just started watching The Simpsons for some reason, and that was my favorite show back in the day, and it just warms my heart to see her.
Well, you know that the putting challenge, you can play it online, and
they made it a real game.
It's using the Unity engine.
That is
ironic. Oh well.
Yeah, that's irony. That's
Dang
funny.
it. That's unfortunate.
Like it says, made with Unity.
All right. Let us wrap this podcast in a bow. All right. This has been another episode of Press X Start Gamers Digest. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed making it. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. We greatly appreciate you doing those things for us. So please do that for us. If you are listening, you can't see me stare into your eyes, then leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or the podcast service you are currently tuned in on. And if you want, you can join a conversation at pressx2start.com/Discord. With that being said, hope you have a good night. Play some games. Hopefully you get those, almost at D20s. Hopefully you get those critical success when you're rolling those perception check. Geez, words are very difficult. I'm gonna figure that out, and I'll be back next week with better words.
DJ stupid.
Bye.